All right, so rough draft. We're down here with Austin, and this is his brand new Coyote intake. It's called the G1 Pro, and it's from whom? Who makes it?
Gertz Performance. James Gertz made this.
So, out of all the intake options you had for the Factory 5, why did you decide to go with this custom piece?
Good question. We have some restrictions with this build. We need an air-to-water intake, or at least an intercooler. We have some pretty extreme space restrictions when the hood is on, so we needed something that would fit under the hood. We didn't want to take up the passenger seat area, and so it was going to be a combo intake air-to-water intercooler. There's some others on the market, but we really are hoping that this will fit under the hood, which leads to some of the funky shape, and James was able to accommodate by using our maximum height restrictions and using a core that we think will be sufficient. A little bit of an extreme bend, but it's kind of what we had to do to make it fit.
Makes sense, and this is good for pretty much all Coyotes. It'll probably clear, and I'll get the dimensions on the video later, but it'll probably clear any factory hood. But something to think about with these is you can't really run a MAF sensor and then the intercooler after it. So these are going to be map based. I think you have a port in the rear of the intake, correct?
You do. So some considerations: you've got your water inlets. You've got your sensor, a couple of vacuum ports. MAF would be a problem. We're running a Holly system, so it's not really that much of an issue.
It's a map sensor.
That's right. And this should fit because it's smaller than a Boss intake. So this should fit under a stock hood. However, you're going to need to make sure there's clearance back here because you're going to have to come off with an adapter more than likely, and then a 90 to run the water, unless you wanted to cut holes in the firewall and run them through the car. So it should fit under a stock hood. Just not sure if there's going to be enough room on the backside under a Mustang.
Yeah, we haven't really been able to test fit everything into the engine bay yet because we're still in assemble everything mode. So obviously, as I'm a small channel, I don't have the resources to test this on every car. So looking at the front of the intake, the height comes to about 8 inches, so you're going to want to make sure that you have that kind of clearance there. And then moving to the back, looks like it's at around 7.5 inches high. So definitely be sure to check measurements before you go and order something like this, and you can probably also reach out to James to see what he recommends. Now obviously, as space is a concern, I wanted to take a look at the intake runner length. So the length of the actual runner came out to around 3 inches on the inside. I think it was about 4 inches on the outside, so we'll just call it 3.5. Here I'm just going to show you a 3. And then when you measure like the intake port down to the valve, that's another 2.5 inches, so you're looking at about 5.5 to 6 inch runner length. Now to compare that to like a Boss or a Cobra Jet, I believe the Boss and Cobra Jet's runner lengths are around 9.3 inches, so you can see that this manifold is probably going to favor the very high RPM band. So Austin chose the 90mm Wilson throttle body. There's also a MMR adapter pictured here, which really doesn't line up to anything, so I'm not sure what the miss on that was. And looking at the manifold, I believe it's set up so you can still run the stock electronic throttle body if you want to do that. I'm not sure why you would. If you're running a standalone, I just run a cable, but it's there for those people who want it. Looking at the intake itself, the entire center section is your air-to-water core. It is rated to about 1,250 horsepower. I'm not sure whose core it is, but I think it's probably a Bell, as I can't find any matching dimensions to a Garrett piece, but I don't know for sure. So you're looking at about a 15-inch length and about 3 inches high. So to round out the measurements, I wanted to get you an overall look at the width and the length. So width comes in right around 9 inches. I figured this might be a useful dimension for those of you in like compact like resto mods that you're swapping Coyotes into. And length comes in somewhere around 21 inches. Just wanted to get you those dimensions. So looking at the weight of the manifold without water in it, we get about 22.2 pounds. Now the volume of water that can fit in there, roughly calculated, comes out to 14.6 pounds. So your overall weight should come in right around 36.8 pounds depending upon the temperature of the water and stuff like that. Pricing on this manifold has not fully been set yet, as this is the first one of this design. However, as MMR makes one that costs around $4,000, I would expect something like this to be priced under that. Granted, I don't know his manufacturing costs, so don't take my word for it. Now this intake isn't for everyone. It fulfills a lot of our design criteria and does so in a very compact package. There's probably some power left on the table versus an independent core air-to-water intercooler, and if you couple that with an intake that has optimized runner length and plenum volume, you can probably get more out of it, but this should get the job done based off our criteria. Now I'm going to leave a link to the manufacturer's website in the description, and as some general housekeeping things around my channel, I'm still kind of new to product videos. If you guys like this direction that I'm taking the channel, be sure to let me know, and let me know what you think of the video overall, as I'm always trying to improve the quality. Now thanks for watching, and you guys have a good day.